Welcome to a brand new box office breakdown show here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinenberg. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, this show every single week, as well as other movie rankings. Please also comment down below. What are your thoughts on this past weekend's box office? What did you see in theaters? What did you see this upcoming week in theaters? And also, please like the video, guys. The thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel. So today we're going to break down the box office of this past weekend domestically, which was March 24th to March 26th. As we're closing on basically the end of the month of March, technically, because this Friday is the last day of March. This is not the last weekend of box office for March. We'll also break down the overall domestic and worldwide box office. So let's get right into the domestic numbers from this past weekend. As I said, from March 24th to March 26th. And the new release of the weekend is another huge hit for this franchise. John Wick Chapter 4 is a franchise best, $73.5 million for Lionsgate this past weekend in theaters. Each film has grown significantly of the other. All the way back in 2014, the opening John Wick film made it $14.5 million opening day weekend. And this film is coming off of John Wick Chapter 3, making in the mid $50 million territory. So a huge step up for Lionsgate. And that's why this is the only film in the franchise to be $100 million budget. Usually these films are around under $50 million. But that was not the case of John Wick Chapter 4. A huge win for Lionsgate, a huge win for Chad Stahelski. As I think Chad Stahelski did announce that this is the final film in the John Wick franchise. But in the John Wick, with the main movies, but there already is a prequel movie and series that are basically shooting and it's done already. So the franchise will continue on, but this is a huge win for Lionsgate, an action franchise that is kind of in the similar realm of Mission Impossible. Isn't going to get to like $1 billion, but those fans who love those two franchises do come out to these movie theaters to see these movies. And the critic reviews, the audience score has an A. People are loving this movie. I'm very excited to see because it's a rated R action movie. And because of a lot of kid-friendly movies coming out in the next couple of weeks, what that means for John Wick's box office, if it can actually keep a lot of its audience week to week. But the biggest win of the weekend, of course, is John Wick Chapter 4. Now, one of the biggest losers of the year so far at the box office is Shazam! Fury of the Gods from Warner Brothers Discovery, dropping 69% in its second weekend, only making $9.3 million. It's now only up to $45.9 million domestically. Really bad numbers for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Again, normally with superhero films, you do see that 60 to 70% drop off, but those films usually make in that, $80 to $100 million, really $100 million plus mark for an opening weekend. This film dropped that much and only had a $30 million opening. Obviously, a lot of stuff's been going wrong. A lot of just bad publicity has been going on, as Zachary Levi has continually on social media, on Instagram, basically confirmed the reports that The Rock is the one who cut those people, cut the JSA out of the post-credits scene. Then he gave a couple rants about that he really wanted Henry Cavill and Superman, and just a lot of things going on. And I think at this point, a lot of the people, especially Zachary Levi, are probably pretty desperate that, I think James Gunn and Safran, I think Sandberg and Levi said they could be brought back if the movie does well. This is not good. So we'll see if Zachary Levi's ongoing relationship with Peter Safran and James Gunn lends him into getting into the new DC. Again, he is very close friends with Peter Safran, who already produced both Shazam films for Warner Brothers Discovery. So really bad numbers for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. But we'll continue to track here on this box office breakdown show if it gets anywhere close to 100 million, which I probably will not be able to get to. In third place, in its third weekend, is Scream 6 from Paramount. Only dropping 52% its third weekend. It's up to 8.4 in its third weekend. And now Scream 6 is at to $89.8 million domestically. Again, no Scream film has made it to $100 million domestically at least since Scream 2, all the way back in the late 90s. Scream 5 last year got close, but didn't get there. Only needs $11 more million domestically. I think Scream 6 will be able to get to $100 million at the domestic box office, which is a huge win. And these films are made for cheap. Again, this film literally came out a year after the last film. So made on the cheap, Another huge, monstrous win for Paramount as they continue to turn out these big winners. And they have another one of their big upcoming movies coming out this upcoming week, we'll get to at the end of this video. In fourth place from United Artists in its fourth weekend is Creed 3. It drops another 46%. It's up to, got 8.3 million this past weekend. It's doing very well at the box office, $140.8 million domestically for Creed 3. A big win for United Artists, a big win for Michael B. Jordan. And I would say a big win for Jonathan Majors, but there's been obviously a lot of bad news going his way. He was arrested for assaulting a woman, and obviously he was released, but he's currently in a huge battle right now to clear his name of this assault. And his attorney yesterday said that the woman's reenacting all of what she said happened. So we'll see what happens for Jonathan Majors moving forward. I'm not getting into that on this show, but we'll see if that means any dip at the Creed box office with Majors. Ant-Man's not in the top 5 this weekend for the first time in its run. It took only 5 weeks in the top 5 for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But in fifth place, kicking out Ant-Man, staying in the top 5 in its third weekend is 65 from Sony. So 5 movies in the top 5, all from different film studios. 65 gets 3.2 million. It's a 45% drop. It's up to $27.8 million domestically. It's actually really solid numbers for a very small film like 65 for Sony. A good win for Adam Driver and a very good win for Sony as well. When we get to the overall domestic box office so far this year, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is still at number 1, $210 million domestically, just so bad for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Creed 3 is the other film over 100 right now, 140.8 at number 2. Megan is at number 3 with 95 million. Scream 6 should be able to pass Megan this upcoming weekend. It's currently at 90 million domestic, so Scream 6 is only $5 million of getting to number 3. In just one weekend in theaters, John Wick Chapter 4 is at number 5 with 73.5. That really should be over $100 million, possibly by the end of this upcoming weekend. And then the rest of the top 5, very low, is A Man Called Otto, Cocaine Bear, Jesus Revolution. Number 9 is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Number 9 domestic in 2 weekends. Just bad news for that movie. And 80 for Brady's in at number 10. Let's get to the worldwide box office, just American basis. The top 2 films are from China. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the third biggest movie of the year, $464.8 million worldwide, 209 of that domestic, 254 international. It's not going to crack that okay Marvel mark of $700 million, which I think a lot of people think is like an okay number for a Marvel movie. Creed 3 is at number 4. It's up to 245.8 worldwide, with 140 domestic and 105 international. Again, record-breaking numbers for the Rocky/Creed franchise. Great news for that franchise. It's just one weekend also in theaters. John Wick Chapter 4 is at number 7 at the worldwide box office with 137.5 million worldwide already in just one weekend. That putting a $100 million budget could have been risky for some people, but it made sense for Lionsgate. They're going to be very much rewarded for that budget. 73 domestic this past weekend, 64 million world international. So good numbers for John Wick Chapter 4. And then getting into the top 10, this past weekend was Shazam! Fury of the Gods, now getting to $102 million worldwide right now. Just not good for Shazam. Again, that movie has a budget of $100 million. It needs another $100 million just to break even. And again, Shazam! Fury of the Gods is a low budget, I guess, superhero film. Most budgets are around $200 million now these days for superhero films. $100 million budget is kind of a cheap superhero film, but it needs to double its total right now, which I do not think it will get. So 45 of that coming domestically, 56 of that coming internationally. So those are the big numbers. I got big losers like Shazam! Fury of the Gods and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania at the moment, and also some big winners like Creed 3 and John Wick Chapter 4 doing very well and Scream 6 at the domestic box office as well. So this is the last weekend of March. The last March release of the month will be Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, getting rave reviews from both critics and people who've gone to the advanced screenings. Again, this is from Paramount. And we'll see. Again, it's projected to hit that $27 to $30 million opening. But could word of mouth drive this to be another huge winner for Paramount, which has been them and Universal have been the most consistent movie studio in Hollywood for the last year and a half. Will Paramount continue their success after following up with Scream 6? We shall see. So next week, we'll break down Dungeons and Dragons, the rest of the domestic and worldwide box office. We're also next week, because it's going to be April next week, which is already crazy enough to think about. We're going to break down the April releases, as it's the last movie month of the year before the summer kicks in. And we got big time movies after big time movies every single week. So that's my box office breakdown for the show. More videos are coming this week, including tomorrow. You'll get my review of John Wick Chapter 4. Wednesday, you'll get my new spoiler review of the new episode of The Mandalorian. Thursday, you'll get my spoiler breakdown of the last 2 episodes of Season 2 of The Bad Batch. Friday, you'll get my review of Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. And then back here on Monday with another box office breakdown show. I'll see you guys.